What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to J. Cool.
Senseless. But something happened yesterday, Chumweka, that has also brought this conversation, made this conversation even bigger. And this is the firing of the Deputy Inspector General of Police for Operations. That is Mr. Muyambango, who was fired. Yes, Milna Muyambango fired yesterday. The last man standing from the three top job people appointed in 2021 in the Zambia Police Service. Lemi Kajoba fired. The other Deputy Inspector General of Police fired. And finally, the last man standing yesterday fired. He was brought out of retirement, early retirement, after he had been fired under the Patriotic Front regime. And so he was brought back after President Hakainde Hichilema won the election. And here we are. He's gone right back. Very interesting turn of events, because he was not so far off from the Kawambwa by-election himself, you know, leading the operation there. So it was a very, very interesting statement yesterday by the president. Interesting because at the end of the statement, the president says that law enforcement agencies, he says that law enforcement, public officers must respect the law, uphold the rule of law, and be accountable to the citizens that they serve.
I mean, that's the general expectation from not only the Republican president, but the citizenry. And again, you can understand, because the citizenry are the ones who put President Hakainde Hichilema in that position, and is expected to do that. And it's not the first time we've heard of concerns coming through from leaders in these positions, whether it's the Inspector General of Police himself or his deputies. In fact, for him, who's just been dismissed now, you'd hear from opposition leaders who've complained about him, that, you know, he's not performed professionally. One of the, I guess, memorable instances for especially the Patriotic Front, they solely put the blame on him, saying he was there directly supervising the illegal convention that happened on the 23rd of October 2023, where Mr. Mao Sampa eventually emerged as president of the Patriotic Front. Those are some of the examples they give, and they say, well, this is now probably an action taken by the president. According to people like even Mr. Emmanuel Mamba, they say this is an action that should have been taken a while ago, and it's even a bit too late for President Hakainde Hichilema to make this decision. But here we are now. And it just gets to speak also towards how these positions really, they change. People change, people hold these positions, get to change. And that's why it's very important for even those who occupy them to remain very accountable, very transparent, and professional in what they do.
Absolutely. And part of the statement yesterday was, as per usual, citing which part of the Constitution gives the president the power. And we're going to quickly take a look at this part of the Constitution, Article 270 of the Constitution. There's something interesting here, Chimweka. It says, in this Constitution, unless a contrary intention is expressed, power to appoint a person to hold or act in an office includes the power to confirm appointments, to exercise disciplinary control over the person holding or acting in the office, and to remove that person from office. I think why this is in bold is because this basically insinuates that part of the reason, possibly, the reason why he was fired was because of disciplinary control over the person that was holding or acting in that office. Why the speculation? Well, because the president never says why he has fired somebody, or why he has terminated a contract, which is effectively what firing is, terminated the contract of a public officer that he appoints. But the tone of the statement yesterday was very strong, because normally it's usually short and precise, you know, just thanking somebody for the service that they've rendered. But it went on further to kind of add a caution to the people that are serving in these positions. But yeah, we'll talk about that in detail much later as well. But also another rather unique situation is the 3 people that are reported to have died at the Lusaka Correctional Facility within a span of 1 week. This was disclosed by 29-year-old convict Emmanuel Mtonga of Bowleni Compound Junior Court Session at the Lusaka Magistrate Court. Mtonga, who has been sentenced to 12 months in jail for trafficking in psychotropic substances contrary to Zambian law, made the revelation while seeking leniency from the court. You know, that's a huge number, right? 3 people within one correctional facility within a week is because it's not a hospital, you know. It's not like you are dealing with just sick people. You're just dealing with people. So to have, because it's like saying you've experienced 3 deaths in 1 week in a university, for example. You know, and I know maybe that wouldn't be the perfect example because the conditions are significantly better in a university, but 3 people in a span of 1 week is a lot.
I mean, we've had so many talks around decongesting the correctional facilities because we know that this is also an additional cost even for the government when we have people get into the correctional facility. But at the same time, of course, the law needs to take its course and people get into the correctional facility to, of course, get through that correction, a moment of reflection as they, spend their time there. But even with that getting to happen, there's a lot that people will look towards in terms of how this, the convictions get to happen. And like you've rightly mentioned, if you talk about 3 in a space of 1 week, that's quite a number. That's quite a number, and we're looking ahead. Obviously, there are more cases with the courts, back in session for 2025. There's more cases that are going to be held. And, how many more people are we going to have in these correctional facilities? So we've been really the discussions around even the state of the correctional facilities really needs to be held. And we've heard people who have been there before, who have, done their time. They've whether been pardoned by the Republican president or they've completed their sentence. We've heard so many discussions around, the state of the correctional facility, and this should not be neglected. We have institutions, for example, like Priska, which is headed by, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Godfrey Malembeka. He advocates for this, reforms, and he advocates towards, having, better situation for the people who are there. They're still human beings at the end of the day, and it's still responsibility of the government to make sure that they are taken care of, despite them being in a correctional facility. And once we have that as a society and we can look at that in a better perspective, then I think we'll also reach a situation where as a country we have even inmates have a better life. I mean, in as much as yes, they have been secluded from the rest of society, they still deserve to have a life that a human being should be able to have even while in the correctional facility.
Absolutely. That is Mr. Muyambango, who was fired. Yes, Milner Muyambango fired yesterday. The last man standing from the 3 top job people appointed in 2021 in the Zambia Police Service. Lemi Kajoba fired. The other Deputy Inspector General of Police fired. And finally, the last man standing yesterday fired. He was brought out of retirement. Thanks
for tuning in to JQ News. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the latest updates on tech, politics, and everything in between. Until next time, stay cool.